This is from Jubilee Middle Ground.
Kids are not having surgeries. You have to be a particular age. Respectfully, you have to be a particular age, around 16 or 17.
First claim, kids are not having surgeries. Kids are not having surgeries. And this trans-identified individual goes on to define kids as 16 or 17. We use the word kid to mean a minor, someone who's not 18. That's a kid.
And there is a process. There is a mental process. You have to have a mental evaluation. There is a physical evaluation. There is a process there that...
There is a process. Here's the problem with that. So the process itself has been ideologically captured. The process itself is when therapists undergo a gender-affirming care education. So they've been taught to affirm the person's feelings of gender dysphoria when they come in, and then see if they can remediate those through hormones or surgeries or what have you. It's not a question of let's examine puberty or how do we alleviate gender distress. I know this must be very difficult for you, or the social contagion is not talked about. It's to affirm the person's lived experience and testimony. Play.
Those decisions should not be on the government's door. It should be in that person's personal home. The parents, the child, and their doctors should be making those decisions. Who are you to sit up there and put your business in their business, worrying about what they're supposed to do with their body? They should have the right to their own autonomy. I am a firm believer that Republicans have a basic level understanding of what trans people are in the first place.
So this is what always happens in these conversations. I love the fact that this trans individual is sitting across from an African-American man with red hair who looks, well, frankly, rather effeminate. But the trans person has more intersectional credentials, more variables, more oppression, so that person's voice has more gravitas. So again, you've heard it 1,000 times, but it bears repeating. This is not happening. Okay, it's happening. Okay, it's happening, and it's a good thing. Okay, it's happening, and you're opposing a good thing from happening, so you're a bad person. This is the inevitable trajectory of all these conversations.
Who are you to sit up there and put your business in their business?
Who are you? That's a relativistic claim to a certain extent, and you're not trans, so you can't tell the medical establishment how to respond to children who have gender dysphoria, gender distress, what alleviates their gender distress. But we don't do that with anything else. We don't do that, like, I'm deaf in my ear. We don't do that with people who suffer from hearing loss. We don't do that with people who suffer from other illnesses. So it's an odd claim that you have to be a member of a particular group before you can comment upon what is contraindicated for that group. But let's take a look at this claim that we hear over and over again. It's not happening. I'm going to play another clip from Billboard Chris, a recent interview that he had.
What's your name?
My name's Clementine.
Nice to meet you.
I've actually seen your stuff online, and I'm a huge fan. I was on puberty blockers. I started when I was 12, and I was on testosterone from 14 to 17, and I got top surgery at 17. Totally messed my life up. So I just want to say you're doing a good thing.
Wow.
I can't believe people disagree with you on this. As a former child transitioner, I'm just appalled that people have anything to question you about. So I support you.
I'm so sorry you had to go through all that.
Okay, so first of all, we have for the people who claim that lived experience is incredibly important and we need to listen to the lived experience of people, they don't actually mean that. It's like many Republicans years ago who claimed states' rights for everything, except when it came to things that they didn't like the legalization of marijuana, then states shouldn't have the right to do that. So it's kind of the same principle that's operative here. And that is that lived experience is extremely important. We need to listen to people's lived experience. There's a kind of infallibility there, although that's not a word they'd use. But yet detransitioners consistently, what's that woman's name read? Chloe Cole. Yeah, so people, she can't come to speak at certain universities. She's been deplatformed. People have spoken out vehemently against her and what she's trying to do. She's a detransitioner. What about her lived experience? Okay, but if you listen to this person's lived experience, her testimony, which is another word you hear all the time, for when she went on puberty blockers and when she had a double mastectomy. Well, we just heard in the clip before that this isn't happening. So either somebody is ignorant about it when it's happening and to whom it's happening, or someone is lying about it. There's really no other option. Okay, so that's when people will make the switch from this is not happening to it's a good thing that it's happening. Now, I know someone out there is thinking, and you're absolutely correct to think this, we should not take the word for one person. This could be a hoax. This could be, yeah, that's actually the right way to think about it. So I want to play a clip from Travis Brown's documentary where he discusses this in some detail. And the documentary is Uncomfortable Truths.
The people who adhere to this ideology supposedly want to protect kids, and the way that they do that is by offering them a variety of medical interventions for psychological distress that will permanently alter their bodies, and often leave them sterile. When outsiders first hear about this, they refuse to believe that it's happening. But we do have some data on this. Komodo Health gathered data from health insurance claims showing an increase in kids being diagnosed with gender dysphoria. They also showed the number of kids under 18 who were put on puberty blockers, as well as the number of kids who've done hormone replacement therapy. Their data even show the number of top surgeries or double mastectomies performed on children. The numbers are very likely higher than that, given that people often crowdfund or simply pay out of pocket for some of these things. But it's just absolutely astonishing to me that we have doctors who think it's perfectly reasonable to cut healthy body parts off of children.
Okay, so instead of somebody saying, you know what, I was wrong, I made a mistake, this is actually happening, now we should talk about whether it's a good thing that's happening. Notice what never occurs in these conversations for this inevitable trajectory. What never occurs is, wow, you know what, I was wrong, you're right, it is happening, and now we should have that conversation. So the other thing that you see frequently in these conversations is you see a kind of rage and anger when you talk openly and honestly about facts and evidence. So this was an event, I don't know, event might not be the right word. This was something I did with Billboard Chris and James Klug at a university in Oregon.
Well, yeah, no, you guys are just sick, disgusting trash. I'm not gonna humor you.
You're humoring us right now.
Right in the
All right, yeah, that's great.
I thought I saw you guys on YouTube before, right?
Is that the best argument that you can make? Is that the best reason you can give?
I believe in human rights. You guys are fascists.
Fascists.
How
Yeah.
so? Bro is another definition.
All right.
Isn't it a
No,
key
you
point
don't.
of fascism shutting
How's it going,
down
man?
open debate?
Good to
I've
meet
seen
you.
you guys online before.
Hey, how you doing?
Okay, so that's the idea again. You guys are fascists. I want to relate that to something that may seem like a non sequitur, but I think that if you live in these echo chambers for long enough, you become incapable of having a substantive conversation with people with whom you disagree. That's also why I think Harris will not go on Joe Rogan, and I'd love to be proven wrong about that. Okay, so back to the issue at hand. So I would love to not be talking about trans issues. I think we as a country have so many things that we ought to be talking about. But one of the reasons we are talking about this is because it's so conspicuously stupid and dangerous and grotesque and ghoulish. And so as a consequence for that, many people think, well, there are so many people in the country who can't even identify and recognize an ahistorical practice, which is clearly wrong. And many of these people have pronouns in their bio, like the Democratic candidate Harris, who has pronouns in their bio. It's a kind of signaling to other people. And so I think these issues are proxies for larger things in the culture war. And this is what we see now as it plays out. It seems like we're capable of speaking about these issues in a more clear and honest way now than we were a year or a year and a half ago, or certainly 3 years ago. And that's a good thing. It's a good thing that we're able to engage each other now and have conversations without hurling names around. I think it's going to be a very, very interesting election, and I think that these issues have the potential to exacerbate tensions. Let's hope that doesn't happen. But no matter what, we have to be honest about the fact that we are doing this to children, and it is not a good thing. If you enjoyed this, you'll enjoy the Helen Joyce video. Keep watching. Thank you.